In this video, we'll define various data store terms including kind, entity, property, keys, and entity groups. Now, the Google Cloud Platform, or GCP data store service, allows for the storage of data in a high-performance NoSQL database. It makes use of some terms that may be unfamiliar to people who are used to working with relational databases. An entity is a data object that contains attributes or properties along with their values. This corresponds to a row in a traditional relational database. So, a kind is an entity categorization for queries. This corresponds to a relational database table. So a property is a data value in an entity, so like a name, an address, that kind of thing. So this corresponds to a field in a relational database. A key, well, it represents the entity, which is an identifier. So this corresponds to the primary key in a relational database. Now, please don't name a property actually by the term key, since this name is reserved for a special property. Now, relational databases also usually have reserved words as well. Now, in looking at the associated graphic that you see here on your screen, we see a mapping of these structural elements that we have just defined. So the user is a kind, and within that kind, the entity called Joe is defined. The key is the email address associated with Joe, and there are a number of additional properties related to Joe. The GCP data store service can form a hierarchical structure with each entity having a parent or not. Now, keep in mind that the parent is not required to already exist, and this association between the parent and child, well, it can't be changed. So the parents and their parents and so forth of an entity are called the ancestors. The children and their children and so forth of an entity are called the descendants. So entity groups are formed by including a root entity and all of its descendants. Entities can be grouped together and connected through ancestry. They can include different kinds of entities to create hierarchy. When you